Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team, every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, and I'm likely the only person that you're going to hear from today that has worked in the offices in the Ole Miss football complex and has also worked in the national media at Yahoo Sports. I'm here with Ole Miss basketball legend, and I'm just going to keep saying that, Tim, over and over again.
Okay.
Tim Thomas joining us, and, Ole Miss is 8-0 for the first time in about 15 or 16 years. I think it was 2007, the last time they were at this level. Chris Beard's turnaround has been instant. This basketball team looks completely different. Even in a night-off struggle-type game against Mount St. Mary's, they didn't look anything like they looked against Sam Houston. It's kind of amazing what Chris Beard and this team has done.
Yeah, they've come a long way, and so proud of them, all of them. They had kind of a bad night a slow start, kind of like the football ULM game. They struggled getting going. Had those two games, North Carolina State and the big win against Memphis. They were all fired up. It's hard for a coach, any sport, to keep getting these kids up every night. And a couple of guys took the night off, and the whole team just wasn't ready to play. It was a slow start, and just things effort wasn't there at times. But we had a couple high spots too. Juju and Matthew Murrell stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to them in just a second. But I think it's funny that after this 8-0 start, you're starting to see like Chris Beard show his claws a little bit in press conferences. He's like, okay, they understand they've got the confidence to do what I want them to do. Now let's get a little bit more pointed with what I'm saying, because he did make a comment about an all SEC level player not getting a rebound. He made comments, stuff like that. He said, this game is fine if you're okay with winning a game by 10 points. And Ole Miss fans should be really excited, because Chris Beard knew that the first thing he had to do with this team was build confidence, because, nothing against Kermit and all of that stuff. This was a pretty broken down team whenever Chris Beard got in. But now you can just see them growing at such a precipitous rate that I think Chris Beard feels comfortable with the fact that, hey, I can get on them a little bit now. They can handle this.
Yeah, he did. He was mad, very disappointed. He was frustrated, and he called out Alan Flanagan. He didn't name his name, but he's the one that didn't have a defensive rebound, and he don't understand this guy, SEC caliber first team, and he didn't show up. Brakefield, man, did he get some good rebounds? A great job there, but he's so weak with the ball inside. He turnovers and all, but 13 rebounds. That was great to see. I'll just say, think about Brakefield. If I was still playing, I'd want Brakefield to guard me, because I believe I could still score on him. But Juju, so proud of Juju. And going back to Beard, yeah, he has high expectations, great expectations for this team. He has expectations for the crowd to be full every game, even though we play a lesser opponent. He for his coaches, for all his great players, and for the staff, he has high expectation, and that's why he does so well wherever he's at. He expects a lot. And I believe it's going to pump them up. And we're UCF coming up. They think they're going to get us down there. We'll see. They're picked to beat us. UCF picked to beat us this Sunday at 3.
Yeah, and UCF was the warning sign game last season. If everybody remembers, we were trying to figure out exactly what Kermit was doing and if it was going to work. And then UCF just came and just blitzed Ole Miss that night. And then the North Alabama thing happened and it was over. But UCF is a good basketball team. They're in the Big 12 now, which is the best basketball conference in the country. I think out of 13 or 14 undefeated teams, 6 or 5 of them or something like that are from the Big 12. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. I hate that, I don't hate that my mom's in town, but my mom's going to be in town this weekend. I'm not going to be able to go over to Orlando to see it because I was going to do that. But Ole Miss needs to, if they can get through this game, you look at their non-conference slate after that, there's a chance for a perfect non-conference run if they can get through this game.
It's a away game, and it's tough. They went to Temple, and they were able to squeeze that one out somehow or another. And UCF, like you said, they're in the Big 12, so I think they're 5-2 at the present. I think they're playing maybe Jacksonville on Wednesday, so that we'll have to see how that goes. But Johnny Dawkins, a former player at Duke, he's the coach, does a good job. He's been around. I think he coached at Stanford and other places. He's really good, so they'll be ready for us. This is a big statement game for them. You got Ole Miss is being ranked in some rankings. Jeff Goodman has us 23rd. Andy Katz has us, I think, 23rd out of his prior 36 rankings. Andy Katz has us in the NCAA tournament bracket. He has a place there. He has 11th seed, I think, playing Iowa State. That was a few days ago. So there's several people looking, giving us a chance. Joe Lenardi has still not put us in his bracket yet. He has first 4 out, I think is what he's got. So, but a lot of other guys, a lot of points in AP, a lot of points in the other coaches' poll. So everybody's looking and waiting and see if we'll fall on our face. But right now, as you said earlier, Coach Chris Beard is laying it to the players right now because he sees that we're 8-0, could be 4-4 really, but we're 8-0 somehow or another with these guys, Flanagan, Murrell, Juju Murray. So proud of that guy, man. I don't know. He might be. He is the leader. He is the kingpin right now because he makes so many good things. He had like 26 points, 6 assists, 1 turnover again. 1 turnover in 40 minutes. I think he played 38 of the 40 minutes. Yeah, and Murrell did good. He had some good threes, and Murrell had a couple of good dunks, didn't he? He stole the ball and was just wide open and great hammer dunks. Good to see that.
Yeah, on last year's Ole Miss basketball team, we talked about over and over. The problem was there was no alpha on this team. There was no go-to. There's no one that you could turn to when you needed a bucket to get one. It was all force. Matthew Murrell looked uncomfortable. Jamin Brakefield, he looked real similar that he does right now. But this year's team, you have Juju Murray, who is obviously an alpha, and you have Alan Flanagan. You have 2 options at the top to go get yourself a bucket when you need one. Whenever you need to stop a run, those 2 players can stop a run. And then Matthew Murrell just gets to come back and play basketball. Jamin Brakefield just gets to play basketball. And then you have those rim protectors. And Musa Cisse, I think once SEC play gets in here, everybody's going to understand what they've got with Musa Cisse. That's a talented big man.
He moves so well for a big guy. I think they list him like 7'1", but you could see he used his hands even on defense down low. He blocked shots really well. Several of them, I don't even know how he got to them and where he came from, and they didn't either, the one that shot it. But he got down and knocked a few balls loose. He might not have got the steal, but he made it happen, and I was good to see that. Sharp, still struggling at times around the basket. And if you get it perfect throw, he'll get it and he'll dunk it. But he struggles offensively. So hopefully, like we talked about, together if we can get 10 points out of them and 15 rebounds and 5 to 8 blocks, together. And so that'll be a guy that will get Brakefield to come back and join us again. He struggled a little bit. He hit a 3 or 2. He made some great rebounds that we talked about, but he 4 turnovers, just losing the ball and trying to do this and that, and an uncalled for. I got a feeling they'll Beard might make a point of that during the film session today.
Yeah, Chris Beard referred to it. Let me try and remember what he said. He says he kind of feels like they're robbing banks right now, and they're eventually going to get caught.
Yeah, they haven't got caught yet. Yeah,
yeah, and UCF is a team that can absolutely catch them. If they play like they did Tuesday night against UCF will win that basketball game.
Yeah, they're a talented Big 12 team. That Big 12 is a top-notch conference, and they got high all the way up. So it'd be a tough one, and we'll be away. We talked about that a lot of times in basketball, the home team. I'm not sure about football, maybe 3 to 5 points, but a home team a lot of time, if you got a huge crowd, like we did at Pavilion against Memphis, it's 8 to 10 points before the game even gets started because the crowd, the atmosphere, been away from home, you traveled, sleeping in a different bed, and just all the things that have to do with the away game But if anybody can make it happen, and Chris Beard knows how to get these things done, he knows how to travel right, he knows how to get them in the bed and get the res, he knows how to pump them up. And I believe, like Saban does and Kiffin does in his press conference last night, he was talking to the players. Might have been the media out there, might have been me and you watching, but he was talking to the players, especially Alan Flanagan. But he needs some leaders, he needs some captains, he needs people like to step up. Now, Juju has stepped up. He needs Alan Flanagan to step up. He needs Brakefield and Murrell to be leaders of this team, and that's what it's going to take. And if they do step up and they do listen to him this week, I still believe they're going to beat UCF, even though they pick us not to beat them.
He probably doesn't have the spring of Steph Moody, but Juju Murray reminds me a lot of Steph Moody around the basket.
Yeah, he has a beautiful little shot. Those are not easy. Those little 5-footers, that's maybe the toughest shots I had when I struggled to try to make little shots. Now, if I had a backboard to lean on, I could get it in there, but sometimes right in the front of the goal, and he just makes it little teardrops and little flicks it in there, and it goes in most of the time. He's very cool. He's collected. He's not scared of anybody. He's 5'11", but I'd be afraid to try to guard him because he can get right by you, or he can pull back and knock a three in from way out. He's got a great range, very talented player. Most impressive, other than Alan Flanagan, but most impressive Juju is to me this year so far.
You played for a Bobby Knight disciple, and Chris Beard is a Bobby Knight disciple. So the reactions will probably be similar coming off of Mount St. Mary's game with a team that you could get beat by, but you could also win the game. What would Bob Weltlich have been doing getting ready for this UCF game?
Well, if you listen to his post-game conference last night, he mentioned, we could have a midnight practice, or we could do, I'll say it in my terms, loose ball drill. And we did that. We got off the bus one time. I won't go any further than that. We got off the bus, and it was real late, around midnight, and we had practice after one of those type games. Wake-up calls, man. It's a wake-up call. Y'all watched the Louisiana Monroe game, the first half, just sleepwalking. Just all you can say. And that's what happened last night. But they got enough talent, enough good guys. Juju came through. Murrell hit some big threes and a couple big dunks, and they came through and won. But great high expectations Coach Beard has for this team. And right now, I do too.
Yeah, and we should. And can you imagine how good this basketball team could be if they get Brandon Murray?
Yeah, that makes me smile. I heard some rumors that there was a possibility maybe this week. I hadn't heard nothing the last day or so, but there was some early in the week on a couple of Ole Miss shows, and we'll see how that turns out. I don't know why not. He has more chance than, in my opinion, Cisse. He was like we talked about, he was at LSU. Will Wade got fired, so he goes to Georgetown. Patrick Ewing gets fired, and now he's at Ole Miss. So I'm not sure what all the criteria is, the waiver police, as I call it. I'm not sure what they're looking at, but hopefully he feels he's good, and we could get him back. If we get him back, and I think we really got to get him, we need that extra person to score. And Caldwell does good sometimes. Kyle Hurd, he helps a little bit on defense and being tough, but a guy like Brandon Murray, we could definitely go the NCAA dance and maybe even go on a run if we can get him very soon. I hope we do.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tim Thomas, thank you so much, man, for joining us, and we will get ready for UCF. And then we got like a week off to get ready during finals for, I think, there's a game against Southern. I think there's one other game. I think they play Troy in there.
Yeah.
But that game in Tennessee, that first conference game is getting to the point where it's right around the corner.
Yeah. Great expectations is what Beard is talking. That's what he's pushing. That's what he's hoping his players on buy in. So these next few games, UCF, Cal, I believe, and Troy, and then Bryant and Southern Miss, he's going to try to get everybody ready, get everything lined up, get all his coaches going, get his players going. Hopefully we can get Brandon Murray in the fold, and we're going to give Tennessee all they want up there in Knoxville, Tennessee, January the 6th, I believe.
All right. Tim Thomas, Ole Miss basketball legend, thank you so much, man, for joining us, and we'll talk to everybody next time. Hotty toddy.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. God bless.